Lukso, a layer 1 blockchain for creative types, is opening a smart contract that lets original validators participate in running the blockchain. The smart contract deposits will open on the Ethereum blockchain today at 4:20 p.m. UTC. So in other words, at 4:20 on 4/20 or April 20th. Marjorie Hernandez, Lukso co-founder, joins us now to explain what that's all about. Great to have you, Marjorie.
Hi, great to be here. Thank you, guys.
Okay, tell us about Lukso and what is the universal profile and why is it at the center of this ecosystem and the time and all that, 4:20.
Well, I think, in the words of Douglas Adam, 420 and Lukso are the answer to pretty much everything. So our belief in our white paper that we published almost 4 years ago now, it was called Blueprint for a New Creative Economy. So basically our goal and mission is to create this ecosystem that will power all kind of unstoppable applications that are meant for creative use cases and for creative people and designers and people at large to kind of like come and participate. And, when we started Lukso, our premise was like, how can we make the process of entering the blockchain space easier? How can we make it easier for developers and builders, entrepreneurs and brands to, lose the intimidation that they have towards the space? And that was kind of like where we started. And, we are strong believers of Ethereum, but we do believe kind of like in that future of Internet of Blockchains. And Lukso, it's a new blockchain, obviously compatible with Ethereum based on the Ethereum EVM. And we're proposing an array of really awesome solutions that we've been thinking about for a very long time. One of those being, as you said, the universal profile, which basically is like our magic sauce that has been, in the brain of my co-founder, Fabian Vogelsteller, for a while now. Fabian was part of, as many people know, of the Ethereum Foundation, and he proposed the ERC20 token standard, and he also built the MIST browser. So since then, he and many people at Ethereum were thinking about how will work in the future in a way that how users will manage their accounts and, their wallets and how they will be able to gather reputation and stuff like that. And that's what Lukso is proposing via the universal profile.
Yeah,
it's a completely new way of how people interact with the blockchain.
So we're going to get to that. I want to ask you about Fabian, but I know that Lawrence has a question. Now I just want to go to Lawrence for that question.
I kind of want to get to the how it does it. How does it make it easier? If I'm just an average person trying to get familiar with this blockchain, how is it going to be so different for me to use Lukso than it is for some of the other things that are out there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, the proof will be in the pudding in the moment. A few weeks, hopefully, after mainnet is live, we will launch the universal profiles. So users will be able to test it firsthand. Universal profiles have been already beta tested extensively by the users of the Dematerialize and some other applications. But effectively, it's just a way you create and manage your account, and the way you access that account that has been, is by design and from the get-go, design in a way that it makes it so much easier for people to interact with. And at this point, the way I like to describe it is you have to imagine your traditional kind of like social media profile that looks very simple. The way that you access it seems to be very simple, but at this point in time, we have created in a way that is truly decentralized, and we don't compromise ease of use with decentralization. So in that sense, basically you have to imagine we have like a proper interface. At this point, you guys can check it out in universal profiles.cloud. You can go and check it out and create a universal profile that runs on the test network. And you guys can see that like pretty quickly you can account. You can get the magic link via your email address. From that link, you can start like kind of like minting NFTs and doing all kind of fun stuff. And at the end, that universal profile is meant to become kind of like a gateway that allows you to access all other applications within the Lukso ecosystem. So that's the goal. And, right now there's this website that I told you guys where you can see like the current version, but we're coming up with a native application as well as the browser extension. So I think it's a way that is designed that it's really user-friendly. And we're really thinking about the fact that, necessarily public-private keys are great and they're very necessary, but that's not the way we think. It's not the way humans read content. It's not in really large strings lots of letters and numbers. So obviously that's part of the universal profile, but the way users interact with it, it's, you know, it's in a way that is made for humans and not for the machine, let's say.
Okay, I want to get back to the question that I had on Fabian, who's your co-founder. He was at Ethereum. He spent a lot of time there early. You know, one of the questions that came to us when we were thinking about this was that given that he's a co-founder, he was at Ethereum, he's an Ethereum veteran, you know, why not build just on top of Ethereum?
Yeah, that's a great question, and this is something obviously that we also explored back in the day, you know, and we continue. We will always be the Ethereum believers, and obviously, you know, our technology is built on Ethereum, so we believe on that as well. But back then, you know, I think it comes to us an array of different things. So scalability at that point in time was a big question, but also in terms of community and the ability to create and the ability of propose standards from the get-go, right? Like after Fabian proposed ERC20, the whole space became very kind of like populated with standards proposals. And at the same time, like that in terms of community and creation, we believe like creators deserve their own kind of like destination. And, you know, at this point in time, we don't believe that necessarily you will have a blockchain that rules them all, but we truly believe that, you know, in the ethos of Ethereum, you're going to have an internet of blockchains that all are EVM compatible, coexisting, and, you know, focusing on different communities and different use cases. So, you know, for Fabian and I, we met around 15 years ago when we were both in design school. You know, we have a big passion for the creator economy, and definitely we wanted to cater and create a space for that community.
So when you say it's targeted towards the creative type, so first of all, did you have any artists and the likes test out what you were doing first, and have they given can you give some sort of specific use cases that they've come up with? I mean, obviously it hasn't launched yet, but nonetheless, I would hope that you've at least tested it with them. So what kind of use cases would they have come up with?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, when we published our white paper, we illustrated to kind of a high level of detail around 10 use cases, right? But it comes down to what we call the Lukso key principles, which is tokenization, virtualization, and communities, and or cultural currencies, as we call it. So basically, with those three components, you can create like infinite permutations of pretty much every use case. So the ability of tokenize an asset, the ability of tokenize a community, and kind of like make that value of a community that it used to be intangible into something that is tangible. So one of the first things that we did when we had like our first Lukso white pager is that I went around and like pitched this idea to pretty much anybody who would listen to me, and that's how we form our initial advisory board. So you have to imagine in the year 2018, we came up with an advisory board. It was on seeing in the blockchain space. You know, we have the president of Chanel and the founder of High Sobriety, executives at Nike, and like a really amazing group of people that since the beginning, they understood, you know, kind of like the ethos of Lukso. And it comes down to ownership, it comes down to communities, it comes down to my personal identity as a user and as a creator and a co-creator, and how those things should be 100% under the control of the brand, the creator, the user, and how, you know, we can take assets that in the past were like very inactive, passive assets that will degrade with time in this new world that we're moving towards, that is dematerialized, way less and more digital. How can we kind of like create the assets for that space? And that's what Lukso is focusing on. I have a second venture called the Dematerialized, which has used Lukso technology since the beginning, and we're focusing on digital assets and digital fashion and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a few use cases that have been tested at this point. Yeah. All
right. Very cool. There's a lot to come. We're going to keep in touch with you. We're going to bring you back on the show to talk more about that once it's launched and know more about those use cases. We really do appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much. That was Lukso co-founder Marjorie Hernandez.
Of course.